Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff and today we're checking out a really special sneaker. These are the Nike Space Hippie O2 sneakers, which are literally made out of trash. As you can guess from the name, they are inspired by space, but more importantly, these are sneakers with the lowest carbon footprint from Nike. Let's check them out. Okay, so these sneakers dropped around June 12th in Europe and Asia. I really did not think they'd be anywhere close to how hyped they were, but they pretty much sold out in a second on Nike.com. Luckily, I was able to check out a pair thanks to my buddy Ryan from Grails Plug who hooked me up with these. A lot of y'all have been asking me how I managed to get my hands on so many hype sneakers, so I figured I might as well mention my plug. Even though they're based here in Malaysia, Grails Plug ships to most parts of the world. So if you want a pair of hype sneakers that you haven't been able to get your hands on yet, you can get in touch with them on Instagram. In fact, I leave a link to Grails Plug on Instagram in the description below. I feel like sneakers are getting more hyped up and harder to cop nowadays, so I figured why not just mention my plug. Okay, so coming to the sneakers itself, there were 4 sneakers as part of the Space Hippie pack. The very creatively named O1, then there was the O2, and then the O3, and then a slightly more cheaper version, which is the O4. Very simple naming there, but hey, I totally dig it. And they're all available in this one colorway, which is primarily a bluish dark gray with hits of bright orange. Personally, I really like the Space Hippie O3. I think that's more my style. But even the O1 was pretty cool too. But I could only get my hands on the O2s, which are kind of a mid silhouette with a sock-like fit. The inspiration behind the Space Hippie sneakers was apparently life on Mars and an astronaut living there and creating things out of whatever you could salvage or repurpose around you. In fact, that was the main element behind these shoes. They're made out of waste materials that Nike found around the cutting room, and as a result, these sneakers are the most sustainable shoes that Nike has ever made with the lowest carbon footprint. According to Nike, each shoe is made out of at least 50% recycled material by weight, and that is awesome. I just really love the concept and the story behind these shoes. I'm all up for more sustainable practices. That's why I'm a huge fan of the Adidas Parlay line as well. Meanwhile, Nike has even applied this thinking to the box. Unlike the rest of their sneakers, these do not come double boxed. Instead, the actual shoe box is the actual transportation box, which is pretty great, but maybe not so great if you're planning on reselling these though. When you open up the box, you'll see that Space Hippie branding with the Nike Trash Transformed written underneath. And there's even a QR code which you can scan to find out more about the collection. And all of this is printed using a plant-based ink, which is pretty awesome. There's even a sweet little sneaker bag included, which I'm assuming is also made out of sustainable materials. Alright, coming to the O2 shoe itself, the upper of the shoe is made out of a material that Nike is calling space waste yarn. That space yarn is basically made out of waste materials like plastic bottles that are broken down, synthetic materials used in t-shirts and clothes, and even scraps of yarn. Starting from the toe box area, you can see that there's actually a combination of different materials used here. The darker gray knit material is more stretchy and comfortable. Then there's this orange Nike swoosh that is artistically stitched across the upper. And below that, you have this almost checkered area, which is harder and more reinforced from the inside, just to give the shoe a little bit more structure. Moving up, you'll see these loops that go through the top of the shoe that have Nike and the shoe model number embroidered in this pale yellow color. Meanwhile, at the back, there's more of the materials around. That whole upper sits on a really interesting midsole and outsole that Nike is calling their crater foam midsole. Apparently it's made out of a bunch of different types of foams. So I'm not entirely sure what goes into this, but you can see that there are literally these tiny little holes or craters throughout the midsole where there are these tiny little elements embedded within. About 12% of this is Nike's reground rubber too, which is cool. And aesthetically, it does look really unique. Now I could be wrong about this, but I do think that this means that each Space Hippie is unique, in that no 2 midsoles will look exactly the same because of the materials used. Also within this midsole is Nike's ZoomX, which is also actually the insole, and you can see some of it exposed below. This is actually made out of foam scraps from the super comfortable cushioning that Nike uses in their Vaporfly Next Person and the Alphafly running shoes. Apart from that, the outsole has an interesting tread pattern that seems to be grippy enough. There's also the Nike logo and the Nike Sustainable Living logo here as well. So that's about it for design. Let's move on to sizing and fit. If you have narrow feet, you can go true to size here. It's not a snug fit at all. However, if you have wide feet like I do, you definitely want to go up half a size. The material on the upper is pretty stretchy, so it's a nice comfortable fit. Speaking of which, in terms of comfort, thanks to that ZoomX, this shoe is actually really comfortable to wear. It's kind of similar to Adidas Boost, but not as soft, and much harder than Nike's React cushioning. In fact, I only have one minor complaint about this shoe, and that is that it's actually quite hard to put on. Just because of that narrow collar, it's a really small opening and it doesn't really stretch out too much. So getting your foot into them can be a bit of a struggle. I guess that's why they included a pull tab on the back. Alright guys, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the Nike Space Hippie 02 on feet. All in all, I actually really do like this shoe. It's really comfortable to wear and it looks really unique. This wasn't really a general release, so you know you'll be one of not too many people wearing these. You'll either love or hate the design, but personally I felt like the design is very my style. So I definitely like the entire collection and I really think they look really awesome on feet. But that all being said, I feel like Nike has done a really great job at recycling and reusing their material waste to create the shoe. Honestly, maybe this is something every sneaker company should consider doing. Repurposing extra materials to come up with a whole new silhouette. Way to go, Nike. Alright guys, so that's what I think about the Nike Space Hippie 02. I'm really interested in knowing what you guys think about this shoe. Are you thinking about copying a pair? And which model out of the four do you think is the best looking? Let me know right in the comment section below. Of course, if you want to see more photos of the Nike Space Hippie 02, you can check me out on Instagram and maybe give me a follow at ClintonJeff. And hey, if this video was helpful and you want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like button right below and maybe subscribe because that would be appreciated. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching guys and I'll catch you in the next one.